How's it going? It's Ron with Abiera Team Real Estate, and today I'm going over the real estate market update for Orange County, October 2022. So the pressing news since my last update has definitely got to be the interest rate. As of the time of this recording, according to Freddie Mac, the interest rate is now at 6.92%. That is pretty much at a all-time high for the most recent years. It's getting crazy how high these rates are going. Let me just summarize some of the basic stats that I normally cover, and then I'll kind of give you my 2 cents on what I think is happening in the market and some tips for you if you're thinking about being a buyer or a seller in today's market. Okay, just a quick summary. The inventory is down 40% from a year ago. The demand is also down 58% from a year ago, and that's all the number of homes that are going into contract within the last 30 days. The market time has gone up about 10%, so now we're sitting at somewhere around 68 days for a home to sell in Orange County. The supply went up about 10%, so 2.2 months of inventory we currently have, and I've already talked about the interest rate at 6.92 at the time of this recording. Having said all of that, right now we are currently still at a slight seller's market according to our average days on market to sell a home. So that sounds pretty counterintuitive to what the numbers should be saying. So inventory is dropping, demand is dropping. Why are we still in a seller's market? And I think that over time we probably will be shifting to a balance and probably to the buyer's market, but what's happening now is we're not there yet. So part of the reasons why is the new inventory. All the new listings that came on the market in September, it's still down 23% from a year ago. So not a lot of sellers are coming onto the market, and they probably understand for a number of reasons. One is they know that it's taking longer to sell, and the normal time of the year, things just typically slow down. But also, if most homeowners in the area, the average interest rate is probably 4%. So for them to want to move, to get into something new, and increase probably their sales price and their interest rate, it's going to be really, really hard for somebody to want to come on the market at this time. And so thus we're seeing less homes come onto the market, so our inventory is not growing. And because our inventory is not growing, we're not seeing that big disparity between the amount of buyers and the amount of inventory. So that's why we're still sort of in that slight seller's market. Also, the median price is still increased. So we would expect this to go down with what everything is happening right now, but the median price in Orange County is hovering just under 1.3 million, which is still, even from the beginning of the year, it's up 17%. Pretty crazy. I think right now what's happening is we're just seeing the effects of everything, and it's going to be interesting what's going to happen in the next year or so when it comes to time on market, the inventory, how that's going to change within the next year. But as of now, because not a lot of homes are coming onto the market, the inventory is not growing, even though the demand is going down. Prices are kind of stable right now. So as of today, still a slight seller's market. Oh, real quick, I want to show you this graph. This is going to be very telling on what's to come. So this graph here is going to show what the interest rate is and what the median payment is for a median price detached home in the county over the last few years. So as you can see where we stand now, we're at an all-time high. Basically, our interest rate's hovering close to 7%. The median payment on the median price is going to be just under $7,000 a month. And if we look back even a year and a half ago, it's doubled since then. So a year and a half ago, the interest rate was under 3%, and a normal payment was about $3,500. So this is showing us the trend that we're heading towards. Although we're currently a slight seller's market, we're going to see how things are going to change at this rate. No pun intended, things are definitely going to change. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen next year. But I wanted to show you guys that graph. Okay, so let me just finish up with a couple of tips for if you're going to be a seller or a buyer in our market. So if you're thinking about selling, a couple of principles have not changed. Price and condition pretty much are going to be the driving force to get your home sold in today's market. A couple of things that I'd like you to pay attention to if you are thinking about selling is your pricing strategy. I talked about this before, but normally you're going to look at what has recently closed, but the speed of the market and how things have changed, you almost can't even take that into consideration. So whatever closed, even from January to June, those numbers probably shouldn't be a factor in leading you to decide where your home's gonna sell now. The more important data points that you need to look at is who your competition is. If you come on the market in your neighborhood, the comparable homes, what's for sale right now, how long have they been on the market? That's your true competition, and that should dictate, where you need to be priced. And you also want to look at the demand. You want to look at the homes, because there are homes that are still closing. Look at homes that went into contract that haven't closed yet within the last 30 days. And it's going to take a little bit of investigative work to talk to the other agent, but you can kind of see where the pricing's going. And that way you always want to be ahead of the curve, especially in this market as a seller. You don't want to play catch up, because those are the homes that are on the market 90 days or more are the people that are trying to play catch up. So you want to be ahead of the curve if you're going to be a seller. And the other thing that you want to pay attention to as a seller is, in this market, you've got to look for all the competitive advantages you can have compared to all the competition. Think about your offerings. If you're just going to rely on price and condition, which you absolutely need, but if that's all that you're relying on, the median time on market is 68 days. A lot of the sellers that I work with, nobody ever plans to be on the market that long. They want to be able to, once they decide to sell, it's usually a fast process that they want. So knowing that, think about things that you can do that's going to separate you from the competition. What kind of things can you offer to buyers that a lot of people aren't, or they may not be talking about? A simple thing, as an example, could be the home warranty. Most buyers that I work with recently are getting the seller to pay for a home warranty. Well, why don't you get ahead of the curve as a seller and go ahead and offer that up front, advertise that. Hey, buyers, if you're looking to purchase our home, these are some of the things that we're gonna include. A 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year home warranty. Just thinking outside of the box. Think of things that you can do to add to your value to your home while people are shopping for homes. So that's for the sellers. If you are a buyer in this market, some points I want to point out to you are crunch your numbers with your lender. With all the changes and the increases that we're having with rates and the different programs that are out there, please talk to your lender and figure out what's the best scenario for you. Because, if you were looking a year ago with the interest rates at a different number, your payment's going to be a lot different. So crunch those numbers, make sure you know what you're getting into before you get into the buying mode. And in this market, it'd be advantageous for you to seek seller concessions, just like the things that I had talked about, whether they be home warranties, closing credits, closing costs. Think of all of those things that you could seek from a seller, depending on how long they've been on the market, to know what you could ask for when you're negotiating as a buyer. So keep all of those things in mind. Remember also how things have changed, that buyers shouldn't have to give up a lot of their contingencies, inspections, loan contingencies, appraisal contingencies. Those days have passed where buyers had to give those up. You shouldn't, in this market, have to give those up. So pay attention to that as well. My last piece of advice is consider new construction if it's available in your area. Having worked in that industry, I know that this time of the year, builders get very aggressive. They'll start lowering prices, they'll add upgrades, and they'll get creative with their financing. I talked about this in my last video, and if you missed it, I had talked about mortgage rates and these temporary rate buy downs. Well, if you take a look here, I just got an email from a local builder in my area, and what are they advertising? Temporary rate buy downs. So the great thing about this, and I talked about this in my last video, is the seller's offering to pay this to get this rate. Even though it's temporary, it could help ease the pain of getting to the home with your payment. But the great thing about this is that the seller is paying it. So if that's the case, it's always going to be an advantage to a buyer. But look out for that in new construction. That might be an avenue for you. Anyway, hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you guys got something out of this, and I'll see you on the next one.